The cheapest way to borrow $10 million is to prove you don't actually need it. But the most expensive way to buy a $3 gallon of milk is to have exactly $2 left in your checking account. Somewhere in a climate-controlled server facility in northern New Jersey, a line of code executes. It happens in 3 milliseconds. It doesn't consult a human. It doesn't ask about your intent, your circumstances, or what kind of week you've had. It simply looks at a balance. Let's say a forgotten parking app autocharge of $3.50 hits your account on a cold Thursday morning. You had $2.15s. The transaction goes through anyway. The computer doesn't pause. It doesn't see a person trying to get to work. It sees a mathematical anomaly, and the system is programmed to fix anomalies by charging them. $35. Think about the physical weight of that math. You were short by $1.35. To correct this, the institution decides you now owe them $35 more. The penalty for being short of capital is that your capital is reduced further. It's an inverted law of gravity. At the bottom of the financial mountain, the air is thick, heavy, and incredibly expensive to breathe. But as you climb, something strange happens to the physical laws of money. The air thins out, the friction disappears, and at a certain height, the system stops pulling you down and starts carrying you. In Phase 1, which we will call the friction zone, you do not use the financial system. The financial system uses you. When your balance is under $1,000, you are classified by the algorithm as a high-maintenance liability. Your transactions are not processed in real time to help you. They are sequenced in a way that maximizes safety for the institution. If you have a $20 balance and 3 small charges hit on the same day, a $5 sandwich, a $3 coffee, and a $30 utility bill, the system doesn't always process them in the order they occurred. Sometimes it processes the largest charge first, intentionally triggering 3 separate overdraft fees instead of 1. You try to call. You want to explain that it was an oversight. But in this zone, your phone call doesn't route to an advisor. It routes to a Tier 3 call center 3,000 miles away. You listen to the synthetic hold music. You speak to a person reading from a laminated sheet of paper. They tell you they can waive 1 fee as a courtesy, but the rest must stand. You feel a quiet, heavy exhaustion. It's not anger. It's the realization that you are speaking to a machine that is programmed to be deaf to your context. And the friction doesn't stop online. It bleeds into your physical life. If you don't maintain a minimum balance of $1,500, the bank quietly deducts a $12 maintenance fee every month. You are literally paying an institution to hold the money you cannot afford to lose. If you apply for a credit card to build your credit, they offer you a secured card. They ask you to deposit $300 of your own cash into a frozen account so they can lend that exact same $300 back to you at 24% interest. In Phase 1, trust is something you must purchase with collateral you do not have. You are not a customer. You are a risk score with a name attached to it. But let's say you work the extra shifts. You cut back. You manage to keep your balance consistently above $2,000 for 6 consecutive months. Welcome to Phase 2, the steady state. This is the middle ground where the vast majority of working Americans reside. You have crossed the invisible threshold. Your direct deposits arrive on the 1st and the 15th like clockwork, and suddenly, without you asking, the system adjusts its posture. The $12 monthly maintenance fee quietly vanishes. The algorithm has analyzed your cash flow, matched your deposit history against a predictable risk profile, and decided you are no longer a liability. You are now inventory. Now, the mail changes. The warnings are replaced by heavy matte finish envelopes with your name printed in clean sans serif fonts. You are no longer offered secured cards. Now, you are offered platinum cards with $5,000 limits. The interest rate is still high, 19 to 22%, but the trust is no longer secured by your own deposit. It is secured by your predictability. When you walk into a branch in Phase 2, the air feels slightly different. The teller doesn't stiffen when they pull up your account. They greet you with a polite, trained professionalism. But make no mistake, this is still a zone of transactional utility. You are treated well because you are a profitable unit of debt distribution. The bank knows that if they give you a $5,000 credit limit, there is a statistical probability that you will carry a balance, and that balance will generate interest that funds their operations. You are no longer drowning, but you are still swimming against a current. You are keeping the system running. Then, you cross into Phase 3, the liquid zone. Your balance hits 50,000, then 80,000, then 150,000. Perhaps you sold a small business, received an inheritance, or spent a decade saving diligently. This is where the law of gravity begins to break down. In Phase 3, you don't call the general support line anymore. Your online dashboard updates, and a small box appears in the corner with a photo of a human being. Let's call him Thomas. Thomas is your premier relationship manager. If a fee shows up on your statement in Phase 3, you don't argue with a chatbot. You send a quick casual email to Thomas. Within an hour, it is gone. The bank has calculated your value, and they have realized something fundamental. It is far cheaper to waive a $45 fee than it is to risk you moving your $150,000 to a competitor. In the lower zones, fees are a tool of revenue. In this zone, fees are a mistake to be corrected. And now, the price of money itself begins to drop. If you want to buy a home or a vehicle, you are no longer at the mercy of the standard retail rates. Because your assets are sitting in their vaults, the bank offers you preferred pricing. They shave a full percentage point off your mortgage rate. Think about the profound irony of this math. The person who has the least money pays the absolute most to access it. The person who has a surplus of cash is given a discount on borrowing. The system stops taxing your existence and begins subsidizing your choices. Finally, we enter Phase 4, the Orbital Level, $5 million and above. At this height, you no longer deal with a retail institution. You are ushered into the quiet, heavily carpeted world of private wealth management. The physical branch with the chained pens and the rope lines is something you only see through a car window. Your meetings do not happen at a teller window. They happen in unmarked conference rooms with panoramic views of the city, where the espresso is served in porcelain and the silence is absolute. In Phase 4, you do not apply for loans. Loans apply to you. The interest rate on your mortgage is not something printed on a brochure. It is a bespoke number negotiated between your personal wealth advisor and the bank's treasury department. But the real secret of the orbital level isn't the free coffee or the polite nods. It is how money is used to bypass the standard rules of life. If a normal person wants to buy a luxury property or invest in a new venture, they have to liquidate their investments, pay a 20% capital gains tax to the government, and use the remaining cash. But in Phase 4, your private banker offers you a different path. They set up a Lombard loan, a line of credit secured directly by your stock portfolio. They lend you $3 million at an interest rate close to the bank's own cost of capital. Your assets remain untouched, continuing to compound and grow in the market. You buy the property using the bank's money, you pay a fraction of the interest, and you pay zero capital gains tax because you never sold a single share of stock. In the lower phases, debt is a trap, a heavy iron anchor that drags you into the mud. In Phase 4, debt is a wing. It is a highly sophisticated instrument used to navigate around taxes, preserve wealth, and build leverage. The laws of gravity have not just been avoided, they have been completely weaponized in your favor. It is incredibly easy to look at this system and feel a profound sense of anger. It feels like a design of deliberate cruelty, a machine that punishes the vulnerable to pamper the protected. But the truth is much colder and much more important to understand. The bank is not a moral actor. It does not hate the person with a negative balance, and it does not love the person with $50 million. The machine is simply an automated, algorithmic response to risk. When you have no capital, you represent volatility. The machine manages volatility with friction, fees, and distance. When you have capital, you represent stability. The machine rewards stability with access, discounts, and intimacy. The system isn't broken. It is working exactly the way it was designed to. You are the exact same human being, whether your balance has a minus sign in front of it or 6 zeros behind it. Your character doesn't change, your worth as a person doesn't change, and your intelligence doesn't change. Only the number does. But as long as you live inside this economy, you must understand that the gravity of money is real. And the only way to stop the machine from charging you for your own existence is to slowly, patiently, and systematically pull yourself into the zones where the friction begins to fade. If this perspective on the financial system resonated with you, consider subscribing. Let us know in the comments below. Which zone of gravity are you navigating right now, and what is your plan to reach escape velocity? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next chapter.